If there is one time period I have wanted the Anno series to visit, Rome is certainly a contender, and that's exactly what Anno 117 Pax Romana is doing. I've been fortunate to get a preview look at the game courtesy of Ubisoft, and for that I am thankful. And of course, this is early footage of the game with everything being work in progress. So let's dive right into what this game is all about, what my thoughts are after 3 hours of playing, and make sure to leave a like on the video and a comment with your thoughts down below. If you're familiar with Anno 1800 and the saga of success that game has been, then Anno 117 shouldn't be a tough concept to grasp. In fact, the two share so many similarities that the transition from one to the other is quite seamless from a gameplay perspective. The Anno series is all about taking that undeveloped plot of land and turning it into something great in that classic city on a hill story. It's neither a 4X nor a grand strategy game, but it shares elements of strategy with other strategy games, because you must at all times manage and balance your resources, carefully plan out your expansion in order to not overextend yourself, conduct trade with your neighbors, and ultimately create a settlement, or settlements, that may stand the test of time. And sometimes that will also mean creating a navy and of course an army. And that makes my Total War heart very happy. Anno 117 is a beautiful game. We have quite a few Roman city builders out there at this point, but in terms of sheer and raw visual fidelity, Anno stands in a league of its own. Whether we're talking trees, fields of grass or wheat, the beautiful houses that expand and become more adorned over time, and so on and so forth, every part of Anno screams dedicated to the artistry and love of design. It's a happy coincidence that one of my absolute favorite quote-unquote biomes is the southern European climate with its often golden and dreamy look to it. And when you couple it with the white cliffs and light blue ocean and rhythmic waves, it all comes together in such a beautiful visual package. Indeed, sometimes I find myself mistaking this game for Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Origins because it features many of the same looks and aspects. And that's an incredible achievement, of course, that a city builder looks this juicy. It must be mentioned that the soundtrack does a lot to immerse you into this time period as well. It sounds as Roman and as beautiful as you'd hope, and in my opinion, offers an even better range of tracks than Anno 1800. It's a testament to not just the love and development talent behind the game, but also how important this series has become to Ubisoft due to its popularity. Despite its big appeal, Anno is not a simple game by any means. In fact, I've found it to traditionally be quite difficult to make a thriving city, in that I always find myself restarting a campaign after a few hours because I haven't optimized currently over here, or I might have moved too fast over there. But that's part of the fun of these games, of course, that restarting kind of implicitly shows you how far you've come since you began, because now everything becomes just a little easier every time. That's not to say Anno 117 is unfairly hard to learn. In fact, I found this game's onboarding to be much better than Anno 1800's. You begin with nothing, of course, but through various missions, citizen requests in side missions, or in the smart UI, which shows you right then and there what you need to produce what you want, I found myself almost continuously expanding and finding my path forward in my 3 hours of gameplay, to the point where I managed to go from a backward province with nothing to show for it, to an island featuring not just a governor's villa and plenty of wealthy equestrian citizens, but also an actual aqueduct that transports water from the mountains to the city proper. This is of course just the early game still for all intents and purposes, but even here it looks like a sprawling up-and-coming city. In Anno 117, you are a Roman governor sent to develop this land on behalf of the emperor, and part of the story will surround this fact and your developing relationship with imperial envoys and your obedience to them. It will be interesting to see how the story will tie into the gameplay aspects, because the game is called Pax Romana after all, and even though Anno does allow you to train soldiers to defend your cities and indeed build fortifications to keep enemies out, I wasn't able to witness any active warfare situations during my time with the game. I am a Total War player, of course, and a grand strategy player at that. So of course I wanted to check out aspects of the warfare system, but sadly in this introductory period there isn't much to see. I was able to get to a point where building a barracks and recruit a few simple soldiers was possible though, and I have to say that they look absolutely gorgeous, but the actual warfare and combat system remain to be seen in full. The same goes for naval management. Much like Anno 1800, your cities exist on independent islands scattered across a fairly massive map. The ocean obviously requires ships to transport both goods and people across it, but so far I've only really had experience with transporting a group of people to attend a banquet with a local patrician. It was a lovely event, I'm sure. You can even take on more transport type missions by accessing lighthouses throughout the game, but any situations of naval warfare remain to be seen, and I'm excited to see how it will both look and feel on release. I'm especially excited to see how the story will unfold in terms of your province versus the Empire, and whether we'll actually get to see some cool Legion on Legion battles. In the newly released trailer from Ubisoft, they did show off some incredible looking footage, some of which included legions and a small snippet of naval battles. First of all, I think the inclusion of these features are awesome, and their featuring in this trailer shows, I believe, that warfare will indeed be a solid and integral part to the long-term game plan in Anno. For any strategy player like myself who enjoys a bit of tumbling and joyful non-cooperation next to my beautiful city, that is great news. But again, we will have to wait to see exactly how much fun this will be, and how the feeling of warfare will stack up both against previous Anno games and against other similar city builders, like for example Manor Lords, which, if you remember, elevated the entire genre's warfare standards. This demo did not include every feature the game has, and some of the more basic ones like complex trade relations was not fully available. But trade is and will be vital to your success. Not every island in Anno harbors every resource. In fact, something as simple as special types of fish may not live by your shores. This is where both diplomacy and trade comes in, and even though the finer aspects of trade were left out, it was still possible to trade on a smaller, market-oriented scale. Because as long as you have a harbor and a storehouse, which, let's face it, you kind of have to in Anno, you can determine how many of your specific resources are kept in storage, which are bought and which are sold, and how much of a surplus you wish to ideally keep at any time. This allows foreign powers to trade and sell at your harbors with their own trade ships, and kind of circumvents a formal trading relationship done through trade agreements and other diplomatic pacts. Pacts can be extremely useful though, because if you find yourself short on money during a crucial time, and if you have good enough relations, it's possible to take up loans with other rulers, giving a nice shot of energy towards your economy. As a strategy city builder though, Anno goes longer than simply keeping to the resources. As you progress and your civilization becomes more advanced, you unlock new civilizational features to play with. One of these is technology, which allows you to either improve or open up new possibilities related to current or future buildings and upgrades. These are divided into economic, civic, and military research. So, as in many other similar titles, it's vital to pay attention to your needs and what might be urgent in the short to medium term. We also have religion, and Anno allows you to choose patron gods to devote yourself to. Each god blesses you with various boons if you have high enough devotion levels with them, like increased production. Much like research, while it's always good to follow any of the gods and increase their love of you, remember that their boons are tailored to various aspects of Anno. And if you are in a time of increased economic or production needs, Ceres might be better to devote your efforts to than Mars. So far, and based on my experience, Anno 117 Pax Romana, simply by virtue of playing as well as, if not better than Anno 1800, looking this beautiful, and taking place in this time period, is likely to become my favorite Anno game right off the bat. It continues the Anno style of slowly but surely having you progress through various tiers of resources, buildings, and classes of people, becoming ever more complex over time. So as always, the key will be to, as much as possible, plan out your province to the best of your ability, and remain aware of possible pitfalls and needs. It is an absolutely beautiful game, and I cannot wait to try it when it's hopefully even more polished on release, as right now, and based on this footage, you could probably tell that it felt a bit heavy running at times. Anno 1800 was a demanding game after all, but I'll be able to say much more when I get the release version of this game in my hands. That's it from Anno 117 Pax Romana for now. If you enjoyed what you saw here and if you're interested in the game, make sure to leave a like on the video, a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you so much for watching, thanks to Ubisoft for letting me test their game early, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!